Happy Friday, everybody. We are back for episode 13. And today we are going to be covering some very fun stuff. We're going to be covering, so we are Kylie Social. I know we operate as the Hive when we're giving our fellow industry peers resources and tips and fun stuff like this podcast. But when we are operating as pros in the daily space, we operate under Kylie Social, our agency. So we want to share some unique approaches that we use for data shaping success in our strategies today. And we got our full team back this week. Last week, we were missing our fearless leader, Paige. So I'm excited to dive into that topic with everybody and her specifically. Then we're going to talk about having people you can trust on social or having people you can trust to run your social media and sometimes what that entails, especially in a fast paced environment like social media. And then we're going to get into some fun topics like family vloggers and something we saw on TikTok that both grew our hearts and made us say, oh, that's a thing at the same time. So let's get into it. MK, you want to get us into our first topic for the day?
All right, we're moving into topic one, our way of developing our social strategies and how we use data to back that up. But really, what differentiates us is our process and our willing and um, our dedication to learning each of our clients' industries and their niches, and really how we utilize all that information to structure all of
Yeah.
it. So, Brian, do you want to give a background on how we do that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's common that when you get a new client from a new industry, right? Because as an agency, we have clients that are all over, literally every single industry out there, different ones. While we are the experts in strategy for social, and that strategy is somewhat repeatable, um, you still need to understand each industry in its complexities. So when we have new clients, we don't even start posting for a client until the third month we're working with them. The first month we're researching their competitors, we're researching them, other people in their industry, what they're doing, when then we're building the strategy as it is and making sure, like double checking it from all sides of the team. We're bringing it back to the client. Then they say, okay. And then we start posting the third month. So, like, we really spend time. And sometimes that's off putting for clients because they're like, oh, you're not going to post for me until the third month of our contract. But the value is in what comes of that and the consistency and the actual engagement and numbers that we can provide for a social strategy of that detail. And I can give an example kind of how this has been off putting for people until we explain to them the process. But before I go into that, Steph or Paige, do you have any other insights to give about that initial process we have with clients and why it's important to stick to that?
I would just say that from a why we do that, how we wound up using this as our recurring process over the last couple of years is really born out of, at least from my perspective, for me, it's really born out of the fact that I come from the agency world before Kylie Social, where there was no niche down of clientele. Like there was there was areas where we might have had one or more clients, but that group that I worked with never said no to a proposal just because it was in a space that they had not previously worked. And I took a lot away from that as a more junior member of that team. And what I saw was that you can be successful if you're an expert in what you do as a communicator, and for us, that's as social media managers. You certainly can work in any industry and in any space, but only if you spend the time to learn how that individual industry or niche functions. Because which seems obvious to say, but it's not obvious because honestly, if what we did was so copy paste repeatable that all we had to do was anytime we got a new client, no matter what space they worked in, we just said, okay, we're going to plug you into our formula and spit out a strategy and away we go, then we wouldn't be social media strategists and we wouldn't be an agency that works hands on with clients. We would just be like selling a template or selling a format. And that's not what we do. And it's not how it works because best practices are best practices across the board for sure. But each individual industry and niche have its own set of best practices within that. Right. So it's not possible for us to just hear a new business request from a random client in a random industry we've never worked in and be like, yep, no problem. We're just going to we'll just edit our little strategy document that we use for every single client and turn it back around and give it to you because it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be valuable. And it would be us assuming that there's no change based on what is being said by your peers and competitors and others in the space. It also would not take into account the fact that every industry has a different set of language, a different set of expectations, the way that they work with one another. So for I say all that to say, I think we do get pushback sometimes where it's like, oh, why can't you just like write me a strategy and like give it back? Because, and it's like, well, because we could, but it wouldn't be true to the actual landscape that you're playing in, right? Like social media is
Yes.
not in a vacuum. When you create content, you're going out into the world amidst other people creating content, organizations creating content, brands creating content. So if you're
Yep.
not going to look at that first and figure out what your way in is, your particular strategy should be, then it doesn't matter what strategy you come up with because it doesn't take into account the
Yes.
space in which it's going to live, so.
And to that point, that could go for people that work in multiple industries, right? Agencies, social media managers that handle clients in different spaces. But even if you're somebody or a company that does work for a specific industry, that's not to say that strategy is still not a good play because, for example, Steph and I used to work for a company where it was a fitness studio, but then they opened an on-demand online version of their studio. And like when we opened that branding, yes, it was under the umbrella of the original studio's branding. But like if we just would have copy and pasted this social strategy we were doing for the in-person studio for the digital one, that would not have played well because you have different business goals, you have different
Yeah.
goals for the social accounts. And so, just because you're in the same industry doesn't mean you can necessarily copy and paste and easily repeat those things to each client, even in one industry, because to your point, that landscape and the specific branding and each person has different competitors. I don't know. I just feel like it's just a good thing to do in general. So if you are a social media manager out there, say you're just like a freelance social media manager and you're doing this on your own or you're in-house somewhere, it is something to look at. Like, are you looking at your competitors and doing audits on them every quarter, every once in a while? Are you, researching what topics are being talked about? Like, because you might be missing a mark in places you don't know if you don't look at that stuff.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I like our approach. I think it's strong. And back to I said I would give the example.
Yeah.
We recently had a company reach out to us. So one of our clients is in the interior design space. And so we were interviewed by the Business of Home magazine as a partner with our interior design client to say, hey, this is how I work with my social team to leverage social media as an interior designer. And this article got a lot of referrals to our agency from people in the design world. And so we had, somebody reach out and they said, we want to see what you can do. Show us a similar profile. And it's like, well, we can, but that does not encapsulate or showcase the work we do because what you see here, you might not like. And that we would take into account and we'd say, great, what do you like? What do you want to see? We'll go audit those people. We'll look at what inspires you and what you look at and scroll and say, hey, I love this. We'll take that into account and we'll build the strategy accordingly. So, I get why potential clients would want to see something like that. But from our end, that's like the hardest part of our jobs in a discovery call is explaining, we can show you all that we've done, but at the end of the day, strategy is specific to you.
Well, and it's why we spend so much time talking about the strategy
Yeah.
part, because just looking at a client's output, like an Instagram or an account that we run for a client,
Yeah.
sure, you should be able to like gauge what we do, right, looking at it. But what you don't see is the reason why we're opting to do exactly those things for those clients. And it's a mix of things that we've set out as priority because we've said from a social perspective, these should be these are your objectives that we think are going to help your business goals. But also from the client side, there are things that they are comfortable and not comfortable doing. So not all of our initial ideas or strategic, choices are always even things that clients feel comfortable doing. So where we arrive is an amalgamation of both of those things. They're what's comfortable to them and what is interesting to them and what we know drives a business strategy forward via social media. So it's a mix of those two things, which you can't just see, right? It's like looking at a car. You don't see all the inner workings of the car when you're just looking at it. It just looks cute or shiny or whatever, or bad, whatever, can't judge a book by its cover.
Right. And I think this approach, and I'm stealing these right from our show notes, MK, because the wording is great. This allows for our strategies to incorporate authentic engagement rather than strategies that chase metrics, which I think is a really good bar. It's true.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything to say about our approach? And I'm trying to think like any pushbacks we've gotten or points we've had to make for our approach. I'm trying to think of anything we're missing here. Anything else to say on this topic, friends?
I think what I would just have to add is if you're a business, I mean, you shouldn't want a cookie cutter approach. You should want
Right.
the unique approach to be sure that the results, that you get the results that you're looking for. Because I think we do a nice job of marrying, business metrics and goals alongside, um, putting it into the world of social and making it come together in that way. And so I don't think, yes, I could see businesses want to be eager to like hit the ground running and get stuff out the door, but there's a whole reason that we take that whole first segment before even pushing anything out the door to make sure that you're going to get the results that you want. And also saying for businesses that are looking to hire social, trust who you're hiring. And I know it can be difficult to give away that sense of control because you've built this business yourself and you have the specific ways that you want it to run and how you see it working. So it can be hard to like hear new ideas and approaches coming in and want to be able to trust in that process, but understand that like we're literally using data backed by your own audience to inform this decision making.
That is a stellar point. And honestly, actually, go ahead. Any
I was just gonna say, trust makes the world go round for us. It's where our best clients and products have come from. Is when we've built, and trust doesn't have to be like explicitly given. You can earn it, obviously, but trust the process and trust the people behind it because we know how to make it work for you.
Yeah.
If we were just doing it to do it, we would be cookie cutter, but we're not.
Yeah.
If we were just trying to sell you a bag of bricks, that's exactly what we would do. But that's the exact opposite of how we approach our work. So that's such a
also, we just genuinely care so much and we want our clients to succeed more than anyone, like just as much as they do. So I think our work really speaks to that as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Great inputs, team. I also think this is a great segue to our next topic, which MK, do you want me to go into it or do you want to intro it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think, that all being said, that is about when you have a social team, an agency, an in-house social person, right? Like that's social media marketing. Now, there is a whole other end of the spectrum when it comes to trusting who you have posting on social. And it's the power of approval process. That's all I'm going to say. And I know that the approval process can be hard to do and maintain when we are in a 24/7 environment on social, especially when you're trying to be the first to say something, especially if you are a news publication. So today we're going to talk about a specific tweet that caught some flack last week, and I'm going to share my screen here so we can just read the tweet together. The tweet that came out was The Hollywood Reporter, and it came out the day after the Emmys last week, and it said, "Was it because of the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr., or simply a sign of the times that the Emmys was the most diverse ever?" with a link to the article of who won. So I think this is a good example because obviously somebody wrote that and thought, ooh, this is such a good one. And it went out. And at no point did somebody catch that and say, maybe we don't put this out. So obviously I don't know and this is no bash to them. I don't know their approval process of how they work and who is posting what and who is writing what and how that gets approved. But it was a fun reminder to say, you know what, we are in a world of constant happenings. And yes, we want to report the news and we want to get it out there, but at what cost? And sometimes it's not black and white either. Like the person reviewing it might have been like, yeah, this is fine. This is great. And it went out there and then it just didn't play very well. So let's just open the floor there. I know we have some questions here, but so like there's too many approval. Yeah. Go ahead. I was just going to tee it up, but go ahead.
There's something about the fact that it was like in response to an event that's typically like semi-live tweeted or live crafted in response to, because most Hollywood Reporter media outlet, they don't always get the list of winners in advance and things like that, or they have and I am guessing, I have no idea if this is true or not, but especially like news outlets will have social social media like employees that work on shifts based on the time of day. So like even in the like overnight hours, so that they can be available to like tweet out things that are happening from a news perspective. And for whatever reason, the first time I read this, I thought like this feels like a 2 a.m. like throwaway line that you like
Yes.
write because you're like a little too delulu, and then you're like whatever, and like you just throw it in there, you know.
Right.
Yep.
And so I wondered to myself, like, I wonder if this isn't some like overnight social editor who was like just, you know, doing their own
Yep.
thing. But I want to return to the point of approval process, because I think it's like the bane of our existence is this, the back and forth of approval workflow, setting it up, teaching everyone how, especially clients, how to use it effectively, and then staying in integrity to whatever the approval workflow is. Like even building one, then you still get into the thing where it's like 9 revisions and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, but we have to put something out now. So,
Yeah.
but it's the checks and balances of an approval process that mitigate something like this. So I do think I think it's a great conversation that we're having, because also like at the end of the day, whoever put that out, like I as a fellow social person, I don't want them to feel bad that they did that, because technically someone should have been approving them. Like
Yeah.
no one should ever have the hot wired keys to the
Yeah.
car to just rogue post. Like
There
everyone
should be
should get
6
a back
faults
check.
if
Yeah,
somebody's
everyone
gonna
should
have
always have a
one.
back
Yeah.
stop. Like
Yeah. Well, and I can vividly think of a couple times where we have posted something for a client's behalf that was like, maybe it was V1 reviewed and then like they didn't get back to us and it was up into the deadline. It was like time sensitive content. And then we just like put it out because we're like, okay, like we got to get it out. And it worked and it was fine. And the client was happy because they're like, wow, thanks for being on that. And then there have been times where we've done that and the client's like, can you please pull that back and actually like change this? And I not to say we're going to have the answer for anybody here of like, oh, this should be the right approach to that or not, or like what's too much approval process and what's not. But you know, at the end of the day, I think it's a support thing and it's a gut check thing. Like trust your gut. And if you think that there's something to flag or whatever, like say it. So if you're the third reviewer and nobody's caught it at that point, you're like, well, on the third revision, if it's still in here, it must be fine. Like if you have a gut reaction to something, flag that. And then if it gets brushed under the rug or like whatever, you at least tried your best. But sometimes we don't have the final say. Sometimes we don't do everything right, but it's never black and white. That's for sure.
Yep. I think my 2 pieces of like advice would be, if you're a freelancer or you're working with like clients, take the time to set up your like guardrails in advance to say like you can ask the client those things. Like if something comes up that's timely, are you comfortable with me creating like a quick response, and do you want to approve it before it goes out? Like ask, right? And always err on the side of getting approval if you can. And then if you're not a freelancer, if you like work on a team and you have the luxury of anybody else being in your space, even if you're the only person who does social and you have like a manager that you report to or a peer who does like design, or it doesn't matter, anybody else, if you can, just ask for 15 minutes for them to get to do that, not you gut check, right? Like gut check from someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Just have them run through that, even if that's not like, even if no one is making you do that and if there's not like a rule that says you should, take advantage of other people's brains, because one thing I will candidly say is, particularly for social media managers, we're responsible for so much in the moment. It's the post content, like what you've written, the rogue MLK line is part of your job. It's the copy, but you're also worried about the visuals. You're also worried about post optimization. You're also worried about what time the post is going out. If you've tagged all the right accounts, does it follow strategy? Does it meet any of the like tactical like work orders you've been given, right? Like if you do have to follow some kind of brief or whatever, you got a lot on your plate, girl or boy, or are they them friend? Like you got a lot going on. So don't expect that you should be able to give yourself like a clean edit and gut check all the time, because you're so close to it. And not only are you so close to it, it's only one part of a huge like pie Venn diagram of things that you're doing. So like, even if you are the type to like hold things close to the chest, give it to somebody else for 4 seconds. It will make such a difference.
And at the end of the day, if you don't have any friends, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Put it in there. I'm not even kidding. Put it in there and say, is there anything problematic with this? Or is there anything that could potentially be misconstrued about this?
Yep.
When in doubt, ask the robot.
I would also like
Great
to say
idea.
we have a Discord channel that is full of social media managers that you are welcome to put copy into, and we will give you true real life feedback.
This is
What a
an ad
plug.
placement now for Star Social Discord. Please
Today's
join. Go to our
episode-
website and you can join immediately. It is free. We are in there. Link in the description. That was good. Steph, you're on it. Yeah. So any other thoughts about that topic? I just saw that and I was like, wouldn't want to be that person today for many reasons.
Facts.
Yeah. Are we ready to move into the next topic?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a yes,
You
yes,
wanna-
no segment. Rhea, I'm
You-
going to hand this off to you because you
All right.
introduced
Okay. I'm going to say 3 phrases, words, and I want to go around the bat and say if you know what I'm talking about or you do not know what I'm talking about, just with the little context I give you. Okay. Sandwich family, Caroline, and family vloggers. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Steph?
I'm a yes.
This is no. Hard no
Okay.
on all.
Michaela?
I only do now because of you. So prior to this, no.
Okay. All right. So there is a TikToker. Her handle is at Caroline Easom, EASOM. She has 3.3 million followers. And she used to do like any skits. It would be like, what's this one? It's like POV, you encounter your town's meanest 8th grader. Like she just did random skits and she's funny. Until she landed on this one video, and I'm going to screen share so you can see. Maybe you see it. Maybe you've seen it on TikTok. So she wears this green hat, this froggy hat. And this was the first video that she ever put out. It got 11.5 million views. And it's POV, you're babysitting a family vlog kid. And it's essentially like there's this 13-year-old kid and they have like a speech impediment, but they don't really. Their mom forces them to still have it because it's good for views. And like these things start coming out about the family and how like fucked up their life is compared to a normal family because they're a vlogging family. And she does it satirically, but she also does it, and she says this many times, to like bring attention to how not normal those families are and how like we don't think about the behind the scenes stuff, but it's very damaging for those kids. And so it's both like funny, haha, but also like, yeah, no, actually guys, like get a grip here. Maybe don't put so much attention and energy into family vloggers for this reason. And I will show you. So she did that one. And obviously, like all her other videos were not hitting 11.5 million views. So once she got that going, it's all she's been doing. And now it is deep lore. She has introduced all the siblings. We met the parents. We met the babysitter. Sasha, the oldest sister, just last week broke out of the family and gave a TV interview to tell all about the family. I mean, it is so fucking deep. I am so into this series. And all that to say,
too, she brilliantly used that. She did a real TV interview as herself about the dangers of family vlogging and like tied that back into the lore. You just mentioned it. Like she worthy cause, but she's absolutely making this her flagpole content at the moment.
Oh yeah. 100%. So it's a little sidebar. I'm always interested to see when creators find a thing like this that they shtick to for a while. Like, how long will it last? Or are they going to Kyle Gordon it and just like take the same thing but put a different font on it? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Kyle Gordon was the guy that came out with or what was his original thing? He was DJ.
I don't know. The guy that super.
So he was like, oh god,
like
this is
so.
It's
supposed to be like a German, like
a German
2000s,
whatever
like hyper
DJ.
Yeah,
and then he like
the Jonas Brothers brought him out.
Yeah, him and Jonas Brothers brought him out on stage, and he did.
I would
like,
also like to
there.
Say he was supposed. This is all. We're not getting into this, but just for the record, he was supposed to be involved in a campaign we were doing with an old client. And
yeah, we were like in contact with him.
Yeah, we couldn't do it because of a scheduling conflict. But
he was and this was before all that. So now I'm like, oh wait, shoot, I didn't realize I was still screen sharing. Yeah, that was him. That's what we're talking about. So he originally started with this video, and that went crazy. And so now he's doing like a country girl who's in the early 2000s, and then he did like an emo guy. So it's like, when will Caroline like move over? Will she always do this, or like, whatever? But I am not one to watch I don't really watch family vloggers. I know about them, and if anything, like, God, this was before. Okay, I used to be a huge Miranda Sings fan before we knew about the lore of Colleen Bollinger. And so I was definitely like watching some Bollinger family vlogs, which I know they still make, the Colleen's older brother. But other than that, I'm not really in family vlog YouTube, so I can't speak too much to like, I'm not defensive in any way. I'm all for what the sandwich family is exposing. But just thoughts about it. Thoughts about family vloggers in general, about the discourse around them, about the sandwich series. Any thoughts?
My family, my mom and sister, and I mean, if I'm in the room, I'll watch it. They have been watching this family vlogger family on YouTube. They're called Smelly Belly TV for years. Like literal, I think it's like a comfort for them because like a big family, and they do come off so authentic and genuine, and they always bring up the fact that like, listen, Ada, like if anyone in the comments, they will address comments that say that like the kids are, not wanting to be in the video or anything like that. They do address it, and it does come across as very authentic and genuine. On the flip side, the Ace family, I literally like you can sense the just ingenuinity of it.
Well,
And
and
just
aren't they getting divorced?
yeah, they are.
So
And we're in
there's
trouble
that.
for a while.
And and we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I think I watch she's more of like a housewife vlogger, but I'm obsessed with her. She's a Korean mom living in Canada, and most of her content is like what she cooks during the week, and her audience is really mostly other South Korean women, but they're interested in her life because she lives in Canada. But she vlogs her whole life, but she manages to do it where she is like 98% of the content. She blurs her kids' faces and doesn't show them at all. But if they happen to like
Yeah.
run through or whatever, like they're fully blurred. Their names are not disclosed. Her husband's not in the content. She'll mention him and she'll even film like their dinner, like they're eating at dinner
Yeah.
time, but the camera is on her. It's not on anyone else. And if there's like chatter, she'll like say what's being said or whatever. But she does it in such a way that is like, she has chosen to have this public facing life, but she does not
Yeah.
involve her family in it
Yeah.
at all. And I respect the hell out of it because I'm like, you know what, there is a way to do it. And still I
Yeah.
watch her every single week, and still I feel like I know little things about her, the rest of the whole family, just by being a longtime viewer. But yet I know nothing about them, right? Like I could not go find
Yes.
them. If I was a creep, I would not be able to track them down. Like,
Yep.
and I respect that because I think there's so much of these family channels is the parents. Oh, we're just not going to help here. The parents have a desire to be known and seen on the internet.
Mhm.
The bulk of what they do is raise their children. So by default, their kids become the content. And I think you can't tell a parent, right, to change their dreams. If you want to be a YouTuber, you want to be a content creator, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's not your kids' dreams, and it maybe isn't
Yeah.
even your spouse's dream. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if you want to do it, you do it.
Mhm.
But if
Yeah.
it doesn't involve,
Yeah.
it shouldn't
That's
involve
it.
anyone who's not actually wanting to do it as well.
Right.
You got to go and specifically watch, if you haven't seen any of the sandwich series, the one you should watch is the parent one that she does, because it's like them 10 years ago, and it's like the dad's about to leave and he's like, "You do nothing, Susan." And she's like, "Oh, but let me just try the vlogging thing. Maybe it'll work." And then it ends up working, and like that's the main source of income, and that's why it went like it just to that trope. It's like, do your thing, but certainly don't do it as a means to like save your family's income, because that's going to put pressures on the kids that
Yeah.
they don't need. And mainly don't do it. Just don't put your kids out there. People are fucking creepy. People are
Yeah.
weird. Like Megan Trainor. You guys see the pamper video that's been going around? It's
No.
literally her holding her son, her little redheaded son with the glasses. So cute. And she's like, "What are we doing this year?" And he goes, "Potty training." And she goes, "Do you wear diapers anymore?" And he said, "No." And she said, "What do you wear?" And he said, "Pull-ups." I'm like, ma'am, in 10 years' time, he's going to be trying to rizz up some boy or girl or person, and they're going to be like, "Oh, I remember that ad that went around." Like, I don't know. That's just like,
Yeah.
Megan, don't do that to your child.
That's such a good point. I was thinking, as soon as I was talking about the family that my family watches, at the end of the day, like the kids they can't actually say if they want to do something or not. Like if you are raised that way, you just think it's normal, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to,
Yeah.
you're not going to look back when you're 25 and be like, why the fuck did my parents put me through that?
Mhm.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it feels very much like those parents that force their kids into like the TV world. Except now there's this
Ugh.
free-for-all platform where the parent doesn't have to necessarily force the kid anymore. They can be on the camera themselves. And it's like, don't live
Yeah.
out your hopes and dreams. I mean, like to Paige's point, there's a correct way to do it if that's what you want to do, but don't like use your
Yes.
kid as the bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I think, and if I'm not even I was gonna be like, and if you do it, listen to your kids, but I don't even don't.
I don't think the kids know that.
don't.
It's not
Until they
the
can
damage
consent.
isn't done until later,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, this is why
Yeah.
I feel this way, or I'm
I even
resenting
think-
you."
I even think about it this way, right? Like if you're under 18, you can't be a creator, like a
Yeah.
regular creator on the app. Like you
Yes.
can make videos, but your content is not shown to most users. It's can't
Yes.
be commented on, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, so anyway, all that to say, like if they can't consent as their own self until they're 18 with the platform, what makes you think you should do it this way?
Yeah.
Which the other thing I'll say is something that I remember when it happened specifically, because I was at the time watching casually this ex-football player. He's like a vlogger, and he with his wife and his little kids. It's mostly him and his wife, but like his kids are involved. They went up in arms when the commenting function was turned off on videos that featured children, because it completely depleted their ability to have engagement on their videos.
Yeah.
So he would start
But
doing
why
this thing
was
where
that
Right.
feature
I'm
turned
like,
off?
why are we finding
Ew.
workarounds to the feature that is meant to protect the safety of the children?
Right.
And the
Exactly.
reason is because it makes very clear, saying the quiet part out loud, because you can't make money if people can't engage on your videos, and people won't be able to engage on your videos
And
if
you
they
don't-
feature your children. But you've built your empire to be focused on your
Yes.
kids being involved in your content. So now you're screwed, and you're going to find a
Yes.
way around it, and you're going to ignore the part where it's like, maybe my kids shouldn't be in the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Weird.
Yeah, I literally just this morning saw a TikTok that what is the son of William and Kate, Archie, Louis,
Oh, I don't know his name.
Oh,
the oldest son, you know who I'm talking
Archibald.
about though,
I think
something
he's
that- or maybe that was anyway the one that's like gonna be the king. That
Yeah.
he's like a kid now, but he's gonna be like next in line. He had to. There was what was the story? He had to do something like it was part of a coronation or some kind of event, and typically his role would wear this like red blazer thing and tights and pants, like literal tights with nothing else. And he begged the king to let him wear trousers and change that tradition because he didn't want to be made fun of by his friends at school. And the king allowed it because he understood and was like, I remember doing that, and I also was made fun of when I had to wear fucking tights around. And so we let him do it, and I was like, I hate the royal family, they're fucked, but that's cool. Like at least they can break traditions that are years and thousands of years old. So if they can do it,
Prince George, I had to Goog.
Oh.
here we go. Oh, Prince George holding his boundaries. So I don't know. I just think,
Let the kids be the kids, man.
Yeah.
It's already embarrassing enough that us, the generation that like grew up with social media, like posted stuff that we just did not realize would be like showing up as a Facebook memory 15 years later and embarrassing the hell out of us.
Yep.
Like we already made our own mistakes. Let's not replicate it by
Mhm.
forcefully making other children be existing on the internet when they are.
And you
gonna
know
look
what?
back and be like,
If
"No."
you feel like the need to record your kids, let's bring back the OG home family videos.
Yeah.
Non-private, off
Yeah.
channel. I watch those all the time. I have digitized all of mine, and I watch them like it's a TV show. It is very nice to have those, but not publicly before they can consent. You know what I mean?
No.
And they're being performative. Like at the end of the day, as time goes on, if a parent's telling you to like, wait, do you remember that one mom who was like, keep crying again, like about her
Yes.
dog? What the fuck do you think that does to a kid? Like,
Uh-huh.
are you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just so
Yeah. So to say all this, I very highly encourage everybody to go watch some of the sandwich videos. It's very interesting, especially this one where they like go on vacation and the babysitter's like, "You excited to go to Disney next week?" And she's like, "Yeah, but we have 75 videos to make every day." And she was like, "Oh, I thought you said it was going to be a break." She's like, "That is our break. Usually we do 100." So it's like, damn, that's real life for a lot of people.
I know.
sad.
That's insane.
Yeah. So all that to say, Steph, when you have your baby, should we get some ad partnerships going? Do you want some diaper partnerships?
Straight out the chute. She's gonna be
Yeah,
on
like
everything.
no name
Gerber
doesn't
baby.
matter. Going famous.
That's a good.
Got a $20,000 brand deal, girl. Your deliverables are due Monday. Stop crying.
Yeah. That's too damn bad.
John was like, "What if she is the Gerber baby?" I was like,
John's already being a dance mom out here. He's like, and go. Good baby. Crawl. Now hold the snake.
And Michael around the neck.
bring it back, Brittany.
Yeah.
The baby's just like, Mom. Little Sinead Ophelia is just like, help me, Mom.
Yeah.
That could be her stage name.
There's a use for it.
All right, you just let me know when she turns 13. We're gonna get her that Instagram account. We're gonna get her on here. Anyway, so on that note, I'm just gonna move us. Sorry, MK. I know I asked you to host today, but I'm just
Do it
taking
up.
the ship. I'm pirating your ship over. Our last clip is very, very topical to what we were just talking about, and we don't even need to talk about it. I really just wanted to show you all it. But this is real. It's very Montessori in terms of it's a wooden child's toy. However, look what it is. Hold on. It's a mini vlogging kit for babies. It comes with, it's for 3 years and up. Oh, hold on. It comes with, can you just behave? A wooden selfie stick, a backpack, a mobile phone, a ring light, and a tripod. And it's all wooden. How do we feel about that? So family vlogging, no, but baby vloggers, yes.
Look, just strap a GoPro to the baby and do it that way. What are we doing? What this tells me is that, you know, that like that joke about like if you ask a kid to motion, like how do you make a phone call, and they go like this, where we go like this.
When they go like this,
we are gonna have to. That is about to speed up 58 times faster, 100 times faster than it already has gone. Like the evolution of technology catching up to kids and stuff. Like nothing's wrong with it, I guess, but it's not. It just makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah,
I think if we're gonna be pushing this, we should probably still teach cursive, just to keep it tactical.
Yeah, and
you know,
actually,
know how to use your fingers.
And like, let's come on now.
Like, you have to build it yourself if you want it.
Yeah, also, you build that in woodshop.
Yep. I'm reminded that we had a class. I feel like we've done this. We've been on this like parabola curve of like how much education we give kids around like media literacy. Because when I was in high school, we had a class called 21st Century Media Literacy, and it was literally about like how to use the internet, like what to put on the internet and what not. Like, and it was like a full born, like everyone had to be in it, but it was short lived. Like, whoa.
It was. I took a course like that in college, but
in high school, it was like maybe like a 4-year span where it was required, and then after that, it wasn't anymore, because now I feel like everyone's just like, well, everyone knows. Like, actually, probably we should have like 3 or 4 required classes now, because it is so native to them. We have to start teaching them about it, just like we would teach them about like how to cross the street and ride a bike and like all these things. Because clearly, like even in their play, it's making its way in. So like,
and I saw another TikTok recently that was a teacher, an elementary school teacher, or like maybe even younger than that, and she was like, the most concerning thing about it being a teacher nowadays is realizing how post-pandemic kids cannot spell. Like, I don't know if they're relying on iPad or iPhones to like correct the spelling when they're typing, but like I remember when Millie, my niece, before she could like read, or like she could talk, but before she could read or like do other basic functions, she could bring up YouTube on my phone and find the video she was looking for, even though she didn't know how to type or read. So that's like the evolution of children's brains. It's like, I wonder if they're just reliant on technology because it's there, and why not? And that's inherently what's been there. So like the spelling and the like not knowing how to do cursive, like why would we if we're not writing anything anymore, if we're typing everything?
Right.
I don't know. And did you guys have to take a typing class? Sorry.
Yeah, I had to take multiples. And can I still do my home keys? Not really, but I type freaking fast for pointing. So
wait, finger pointing is how you type?
No, I just don't do the proper home keys. Like you're supposed to. I just don't.
My sister Jordan, she types like this. And this girl, I watched her over the pandemic. She typed a like multi-thousand-page novel like this on her computer.
No way.
She didn't ever have to take that class in school. She literally uses each finger and she types the whole thing. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm curious to see like what are the evolution of the children going to be like when we get older. I don't know. No shaming. Just actually that is a shame. Jordan, learn how to fucking type.
Well, it's also scary because I mean, I literally think of this myself all the time. Like, God forbid the power grid goes out. You know what I mean? I have
Uh-huh.
nothing to offer. Like, I can't start a fire.
Wait,
I,
that's
like,
such a good point.
I think about it all the time. So,
You
know,
could be the town jokester. You could tell jokes.
I will do a dance for the town. That's about all I can do.
No, I know. I'm the same way. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know where to leave that. Steph, you want us to get you a wooden vlogger kit for your baby and for
Please
3 years
don't.
from now? Okay. Let's get him a real
Or
one. She can have
no.
the ring lights. Oh, any other thoughts we have to contribute to our pod today, guys? It's been a really good week. I'm just saying in general, energy's been good. Feelings, vibes are high. Paige, what's that in your hand?
Oh, this old thing? It's just the Chronically Online Tumblr available
Where'd
for
you get
purchase
that?
on the Hive Connected's website.
Oh, I'm
Whoa!
chronically online. I want that too.
It's
Me
so freaking
too.
sick.
So that's why I love to rep my Chronically Online syndrome on my merchandise.
Wait, that
it
is so
comes
cute.
with a
though.
straw that you don't have to use because it also comes with this little like closed.
So
top
hot or
lid.
cold liquid is what you're
Hot
saying?
or cold. You
Love
know,
that.
and it's the perfect size. It fits a cup holder in a car.
What?
Take that, Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Redacted. It's fantastic. It came in a very timely manner. It's silky to the. It's like it's glossy to the touch, and I love it. I just love it. And I hope
What's your
you'll love
favorite
yours
little
too.
icon on there?
It would be this. Well, okay, there's multiple ones, so I guess I can just turn it around. But it's the computer with the hive on it,
Love it.
Oh, look at that.
and also this our unofficial mask.
Our melty guy. Oh, he's so chronically online. Look at him
the lighting's
melting.
not great here, but trust me, I love it.
Get your Tumblr at hiveconnective.com/shop, probably. Link in description. All right, y'all. Have a fantastic fucking weekend. We are proud of the work you did this week. We hope you're proud of us. And we'll see you next
Say it
Friday.
back.
Say it back. We love you. Say it back.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.